Pop Smoke's death left a hole in the Brooklyn drill scene that'll never be filled, but some fans think Dusty Locane comes the closest. Some call him a Pop clone, and others even think they're related. But Dusty had a wild come up in the streets before he broke out in 2020 and started blowing up. But before he could hit the mainstream, Dusty got booked on a weapons charge and is sitting behind bars right now. And today, we're breaking it all down. Let's get right into it. Dusty grew up in the Canarsie neighborhood of Brooklyn, which isn't as wild as some areas of the city. A lot of drill rappers got active in the streets at a young age because they came from broken homes. But Dusty grew up in a good household and didn't have to provide for himself as a kid, but he was still exposed to the streets. Before he even thought about hopping in the booth, Dusty thought he was going to make it to the NBA. Basketball is what kept him in school, and he even earned a scholarship. But while basketball kept him focused enough to make it through high school, college was a different story. When Dusty got to college, it didn't take long for him to start getting in trouble. His dream of making it to the NBA wasn't enough to keep him disciplined, and he ended up getting kicked out after just one semester. He didn't have any other goals besides basketball, so when that opportunity was ruined, Dusty didn't know what to do. His parents both had normal jobs, but Dusty decided to take another route. Even though he wasn't active in the streets as a kid, he grew up in the environment and knew how to move. So after college and basketball didn't work out, he went back to Brooklyn and got down with the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips. Dusty knew the consequences that came with the streets, but he didn't expect it to come back on his family too. What's crazy is that his dad was a cop in the city for years, and then he became a detective. After Dusty really got active and his name became known in the trenches, his dad ended up having to retire from the force. Dusty didn't have any long-term plans. He just started hustling to support himself after his basketball dreams were over, but it didn't take long for the streets to catch up to him. After he got booked and had to chill out for a little while, Dusty knew he needed to switch up how he moved. That's when he decided to record his first track, and everything changed. In August 2020, Dusty dropped Rollin' and Controllin' and popped off immediately. The song ran up huge numbers from the jump and had Dusty buzzing. Then he followed it up with the track Rolando and blew up even more. After his first two tracks racked up hundreds of millions of plays, Dusty knew he could really make it in the music game. He stayed on the grind in 2021 and didn't slow down at all. None of his new tracks went as viral as Rollin' and Controllin' or Rolando, but he was still getting millions of streams and building up a solid fan base. He dropped his debut album later that year. Then in 2022, he dropped a collab tape with Ron Suno, Ross Swish, and On Point like OP. But while he was popping off and becoming one of the hottest new rappers in the Brooklyn drill scene, some people called Dusty out for copying Pop Smoke's style. Before his tragic murder in 2020, Pop Smoke was the biggest artist putting on for Brooklyn. His unique style and deep voice set him apart from everyone else in the game, and he was on the way to becoming a superstar before he was killed. A lot of people accuse Dusty of jacking Pop's style and trying to ride his wave. It's wild how similar their voices are, but that don't just make Dusty a clone. When people first started making accusations, Dusty just laughed it off, but eventually he revealed that him and Pop have a lot more in common than just their voice. Dusty and Pop both grew up in Canarsie, and they even went to elementary school together and were on the same basketball team. According to Dusty, Pop was always a wild kid who was already smoking Black & Milds back then and getting in trouble. And while basketball kept Dusty in school all the way into college, Pop got kicked off of their elementary team for disrespecting the coach. There was also rumors Pop Smoke and Dusty were actually cousins, but it turns out Dusty just referred to Pop as cuz one time and didn't actually claim they're related, but fans just ran with it. Even though he's been accused of sounding like Pop just to make it in the industry, Dusty told Future's TV,
or like when Pop got lit, I didn't try to, I grew up with him, I know him. Cause I feel like you gotta give people, that's his shine, it's his time.
He told Hip Hop DX he was the biggest to do it. When he dropped that, you can't say nothing. All you gotta say is, cuz, I wish you was still here. If it's another comment besides that, they a hater. Drill fans ain't the only people sending shots at Dusty though. 22G's called him out on social media and accused him of being an industry plant because he's never seen him in Brooklyn. But 22G's and Dusty aren't just rivals in the rap game. They both have street ties that automatically makes them ops. Dusty reps the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips, and the set he's affiliated with belongs to a Crip alliance called 100 Clock, and he shouts him out on tracks like Rolando with the line, "I'm Dusty Rollin' from the clock, and I can surely get you shot. Don't play, you talk to cops, and now you turn into a stain, a op." The 100 Clocks are under the umbrella of an even bigger gang called the Woo, which Pop Smoke was also affiliated with. The Woo started out as a crew called Wave Gang, while their rivals, the Chos, used to be called the Hood Stars. Back in the day, both sets were cool and there was no issues, but everything went downhill fast after the cops arrested a ton of members from each side in a case called Operation Tidal Wave. After that, they all started going by the Woos and Chos and have been at war ever since. Bobby Shmurda is the first Wu rapper who really popped off. He raps GS9, which is a set known for beefing with the Cho gang called the Blickies, which is the same set that 22 G's raps. After Bobby Shmurda got booked, there weren't any big rappers from either side making waves. But in 2016, 22 G's popped off with the track Blicky and put the Chos back on the map. The next year, he blew up even more off the track Suburbans. Then, Chef G clapped back with No Suburbans and made it an official rap beef. Chef ain't with the Wu, but he was cool with Pop Smoke and other Wu affiliates. For a minute, 22 G's was the only dude from the Cho vs. Wu beef who was really putting on with the music. But in 2019, Pop Smoke dropped Welcome to the Party and became the biggest drill rapper in the city overnight. 22 G's called Dusty an industry plant after he popped off, but as of right now, he's never had a major deal. He signed a distribution deal with Empire Records, but he wants to stay independent and have control over his career. And in an interview with the Nocturnal.com, he said, "Getting a team like Bobby and everybody at Empire was definitely a blessing. It took a lot of weight off my shoulders, but at the same time, it gave me the freedom to do as I please, having creative control I believe every artist should have. I'm appreciative for that. This independent work is not a walk in the park. You gotta be ready for the bumps and bruises and just keep pushing." The drill wave all started with Chicago back in the day, and now New York has their own version of it. It's known for the cold bars, dissing dead ops, and sending shots at the ones who are still alive. But Dusty told Dirty Glove Bastard that he wants to switch up his message. According to him, his whole mentality changed since he got back active in the streets. He said back then, it was all about spitting on ops and avoiding the police. But now, it's about motivating and uplifting my You're gonna see a change in the music. We still gonna keep it treacherous, but with meaning. Before he got locked up again, you could already hear the change on tracks like Rain, where he said, "And I know you're going through a phase. I'm just praying that you never gonna change." She asked me a question like, "Do I got kids?" I told her, "Got 2 on the way. My baby boy will be here in March. My little girl will be here in May." Dusty also talks about guiding the kids away from making the same mistakes he made. In his Dirty Glove interview, he said he wants young dudes from his hood to set real goals for themselves and that you gotta have a little sense of direction. We born winners, but I still got a lot of taking L's in the hood, so we still working. It looked like Dusty was making all the right moves to leave the streets behind and take it far in the rap game. But then, in November 2022, he went to jail after pleading guilty to 2 gun charges. One of the charges is from 2019 and the other is from 2020, but it's not clear exactly how he caught him. On Thanksgiving, he hopped on IG and told fans that he was gonna turn himself in. Getting locked up right before you can turn everything around is tough, but it seems like Dusty is handling the situation alright. Back in December, he posted a couple of jail pics and said, "Alive is the best place to be. They locked me physically, but my mind is free. I appreciate the love and support. Free me." It's not clear how long Dusty will be there, but he has a mandatory minimum of 1 year and a maximum of 3 years. It don't seem like the charges are that serious though, so he might be back on the streets before 2023 is over. And while his name isn't buzzing as much as it was when he dropped Rolling and Controlling, there's still plenty of room in the Brooklyn drill scene for him to come back and get it popping again.